Nuggy, move. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. For those of you that are new here, my name is Rochelle. I read a variety of books and I also have a disability. And today what we're gonna do is do a huge book haul. So in a lot of my other book haul videos you will have seen on this channel in the past couple of months have been kind of smaller focused ones. So you might have seen ones from specific indie bookstores that I've gone to, or doing special book sales at Second and Charles. But what you haven't seen is a lot of the other books that I've been purchasing behind the scenes or also getting from publishers. So as always, I really love doing huge, and I mean huge, book hauls. I think they are so enjoyable, they're so fun, and so that is why a lot of these you wouldn't have seen lately, because I've been storing them all so that we can just do a huge video together. So with that being said, so I stop rambling, go and maybe get a cozy beverage, maybe get a blanket depending on what part of the world you're in and if it's cold, and let's get started with this huge pile of books. I always section off these videos with where some of the books come from. So for the first ones we're gonna do, let's go and do the Barnes & Noble books first, and then we'll try to figure out where we go from there. So the first book we have here from my pile is Catabasis by R.F. Kuang, and I think there's been a lot of different reviews and thoughts regarding this book and how people feel about it. But as always with a lot of my book haul videos, I usually like to read a few sentences, maybe the first paragraph of each book in the haul, just so that you can get a little bit of an idea of what the book is about. But also, before I forget, just so you can see the edition that I have one that has this on the cover, and then when you open the book, you can see this, and then this. There's also these beautiful sprayed edges on the book as well. So it says, Catabasis, noun, ancient Greek, the story of a hero's descent to the underworld. Alice Law has only ever had one goal, to become one of the brightest minds in the field of magic. She has sacrificed everything to make that a reality, her pride, her health, her love life, and most definitely her sanity, all to work with Professor Jacob Grimes at Cambridge, the greatest magician in the world. That is, until he dies in a magical accident that could possibly be her fault. From what I know of this book is that it has to deal with the underworld, and there's like different levels or steps to get there. I've been avoiding a lot of reviews just because I do want to read this book and develop my own opinion and my own thoughts on it. But I am really excited to check it out as well, and so happy that I have this edition in my hands. Okay. That actually worked! That went all the way. God, the lighting is something else. I'm gonna have to try my best to really edit the color when I do this after. Or I'm gonna really have to work on fixing the color filtering and everything, but hopefully it maybe gives like a nice, eerie, creepy gothic feel. We can only hope. Next book I have here is A Theory of Dreaming by Ava Reed. I have not read A Study in Drowning just yet, but I really wanted to go and pick up this book as well because of these sprayed edges. I'm obsessed with the sprayed edges on this book. I just think they're so beautiful and something that just is kind of perfect having on your bookshelf already. But I am really excited and curious to go and read this book. The inside end pages look like this, which is like this really pretty like kaleidoscope marbling color, and then the book itself looks like this, which is beautiful. I really want to go and have like hardback books on my tables for the wedding, but I'm too nervous to actually go and put any books like this on the table since food is getting served. But goodness, this would be a gorgeous book to have on the table at the wedding. I won't be reading anything from this book just because it is the second one and I don't want to give any spoilers to you or me, but this is one of the books that I got from Barnes & Noble as well, and I just think she is stunning. Blood Moon by Brittany S. Lewis. I did get an ARC for this book via NetGalley, and I did read it, I believe, a couple months ago, and I absolutely loved it. This book, the author was basically inspired by a lot of TV shows that we grew up with, such as Vampire Diaries, and kind of seeing how the black characters really always got the short end of the stick. And I mean, if you've watched Vampire Diaries, you might understand, because Bonnie really had a really difficult character arc and storyline. So that was what inspired her to write this book, and I had to go and get my own edition of it. It has these beautiful sprayed edges. And then I'm not sure about the cover itself. Yeah, it's just kind of a typical plain cover, but still beautiful edition, and definitely a book that I would highly recommend. I thought it was such an enjoyable read, and definitely curious to go and read, I believe, the next one, because it did leave off with quite the cliffhanger. So, Mirabella Owens grew up with legends of werewolves that traveled to her Midwestern town to protect humans from vampires, of a werewolf that fell in love with one of the undead, unraveling a blood-soaked history. But Mira stopped believing in those fairy tales years ago. She stopped believing in a lot of things after her mom left without a trace when she was only 13. Like I said, this was such a good book, and I feel like this would be a perfect read for the fall time. Also, just because it does in some ways have some Twilight vibes, and what is it people call this season? The Hoa 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 season? I don't want to sing it because, like, I don't sing in front of people, and I definitely don't sing in front of cameras, but I think this would be a perfect read for fall as well. Then, last book from Barnes & Noble, Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones. I have been really wanting to go and read Howl's Moving Castle. I've only ever watched the Studio Ghibli movie, and it definitely is one of my favorites. So I was really tempted to go and read the book. However, when I saw this edition of Howl's Moving Castle, I had to go and pick her up because she's just so beautiful. And we have these gorgeous falling stars on the sprayed edges. Then on the front of the book it says, "Howl's quite heartless, you know." And I love that it has the falling stars here as well, or shooting stars. And then on the inside cover, we have Howl and Sophie, I believe, and Calcifer, which Calcifer looks really creepy here, not gonna lie. And then kind of the same image here. I am so curious about this book, and definitely feel like this might be a good read as well for the fall time. So this one says, the beloved classic about a heartless wizard, a cursed young woman, and a sly fire demon. In the land of Ngari, 7 league boots and cloaks of invisibility are real. A witch rules the waste, a wizard's castle roves the hills, and it is a great misfortune to be born the eldest of 3. So it's no surprise when Sophie, the eldest of 3 sisters, attracts the ire of the Witch of the Waste, and finds herself cursed to be an old woman. Her only chance at breaking the spell lies in the ever-moving castle in the hills, the wizard Howl's castle, and it's said that Howl collects young girls and eats their hearts. I am so excited for this. I'm sure there's definitely going to be a lot of differences compared to the movie, but I'm still very excited to go and pick up this book and read it. You can already see, like, the castle up here, Howl's Moving Castle, is definitely different from the one that we know in Studio Ghibli. So, like I said, very excited to check this out. So I realized that I missed a book from the Barnes & Noble pile. So this one is The Library at Hellbore by Cassandra Kaw. This says, the Hellbore Tentacle Institute for the Gifted is the premier academy for the dangerously powerful, the Antichrists and Death Workers, the World Eaters and Apocalypse Makers. Hellbore promises redemption, acceptance, and a normal life after graduation. At least that's what Elisa Lee is told after she's kidnapped and forcibly enrolled. I am so excited for this one. I think I remember hearing about this through a different booktuber's channel, and as soon as I heard Apocalypse Makers, I was like, all right, nope, that is a book that I want to read. So very excited for this one. It's super thin as well, so I feel like this might be a great palette cleanser. Then let's move on to my Satisfiction books that I've gotten. All right, so first book we have here is Lore of the Tides by Annalie Sabrana. This is the second book in the duology. The first book is Lore of the Wilds, which I haven't read yet, but I really wanted to get a special edition of this book as well, just to match the first one. So very excited for this. I've also heard that there's some spice in the series, so I am quite curious about that as well. I have been getting more into romance lately, so reading books that are a bit spicier or include spice isn't something that deters me as much as it did in the past. So I am very curious about this one. I won't be reading any description because I do want to avoid spoilers, because I do want to read the first book here soon. And I do have a little nameplate as well, but I do love Satisfiction. This is women-owned and run by a Black woman. So if you're looking for a special edition book company to go and support, I definitely recommend Satisfiction. This is not sponsored, just my personal opinion, because they do get some gorgeous books. There's no box for this one because I did end up going and using the box when we did rescue a squirrel. So the box was kind of holding the squirrel while we were taking care of it in our house. So yeah, that's why the books are in bubble wrap. So this next one is going to be a little bit of an oops on my end. So I have two books from, I believe it's a trilogy. So the first one is So Let Them Burn by Camilla Cole, and it has these end pages. And then this Ends in Embers by Camilla Cole. And here's these sprayed edges. So the reason why I'm not going to open this and remove the plastic on this is because I did not realize that these books were in the same series and were the original copies. So for this Ends in Embers, here's this edition, and then there's this one. I probably will be keeping this edition. I probably will go and unhaul this one just because I have duplicate copies, and I would prefer to have the sprayed edged one. But the thing is, I did not realize that these were the same books. So Let Them Burn, this is the edition that I've seen around. However, I've also seen this edition quite often, and I never pieced together that these were the same book. So I might have to decide if I would like to unhaul this one, or if I'd like to unhaul and regift this one to a friend, because now I'm stuck with two different editions of the same book and I haven't read them yet. So that is another conundrum I have. So yeah, I made a little bit of an oopsie when I did this, but I really wanted to read these books and I really wanted to support the company. So that's why I did this, before realizing that, oh no, the first book has two different cover editions. But anyway, let me go and read the back of the first book so that you can get an idea of it. So it says, there is nothing that Farron won't do for her sister. Farron Vincent can channel the power of the gods. 5 years ago, she used her divine magic to liberate her island from its enemies, the dragon-riding Langish Empire. But now at 17, Farron is powered up with no wars to fight. She's a legend to her people and a nuisance to her neighbors. When she's forced to attend an international peace summit, Farron expects that she will perform tricks like a trained pet and then go home. She doesn't expect her older sister, Alara, forming an unprecedented bond with an enemy dragon, or the gods claiming that the only way to break this bond is to kill her sister. This sounds really intense, and I just also have been so curious about this book series. I did plan on reading it, I think, in August for Draconathon, but obviously since I didn't unbox the books, I just never got the chance to go and read it. So I'll probably hang on to the first two books for the next Draconathon so I can go and read them during that readathon. Next is a package that I ordered from an indie author that I have been lucky enough to get ARCs for the first two books so far. So I did actually open this box already just because I wanted to read the physical edition for the second book. And so that is why it's open on my end. But there is a cute little card in here that has my name on it, which is super pretty. And then there's this little dragon stamp on the back. I did not open this at all yet, so this is going to be the first time I'm looking at it with y'all. Try not to break the sticker so I can reuse it. Does anyone else do that? So it says, thank you. Rochelle, thank you so much for your pre-order of Isle of Ember and for your support of the Enchanted Isle series. I'm so grateful to have you Oh, I'm so grateful to have you on the crew and can't wait for your adventure to continue. Alicia. Ah, this is so cool. So I guess I am technically a part of the crew since I have been able to go and read advanced copies of her books so far. That's so cool. And I guess she did recognize my name, or I think I had to put my name in something when I was getting the book, so who knows. But here's the first book, The Enchanted Isles by Alicia E. Anderson, and then Isle of Ember by Alicia E. Anderson. This is book 2 that recently came out, but I have both of these books. So I got the first book through NerdFam as an ARC and then just fell in love with the book so much that every time I hear just words about the next book coming out or anything regarding that, I always have to run and sign right up because I'm in love with this book series so far, and I just can't wait for each book for each island. So, enough of blabber. Basically with this one, if you like Pirates of the Caribbean, Atlantis, The Mummy, then I think that this might be a great book series for you to potentially check out. So it says, a cursed kingdom teeters on the brink of destruction, its fate resting on the unsuspecting shoulders of a librarian. Vivian Banner has spent her life surrounded by maps of distant lands she planned never to see, bound to the library of Metis by family legacy. When her parents go missing at sea, Vivian is thrust on a perilous mission to venture to the first of the legendary enchanted isles of Osamiri and retrieve one of the artifacts said to hold the power to save her homeland and solve the mystery of her parents' disappearance. Like I said, I absolutely loved this book, and I actually did rate this one 5 stars, but you will have to hear more about that in my September reading wrap-up. I also will have these books probably in my fall book recommendation video, so whether or not that video comes out before this one comes out, I will leave a link up here so you can go and hear more thoughts about it, just so I'm not taking up this entire book haul just blabbering on about my love for this book series. I also did get some stickers, so let's go and check those out too. So we have Ember. So I think a lot of these stickers might have to do with the second book. You're a very graceful squirrel. I love that. So squirrels are definitely one of my favorite animals for many reasons, so that sticker just speaks to me. And then we have different stickers for the characters in the story. So this is our main character, Vivian. And then we have, I believe this is the captain. This is another character that I won't say the name of, just so that there's no spoilers. And then this is her best friend, Lewis, who kind of gives those Milo vibes. And then we got another sticker that is involved with the second book as well, which is so cool. These stickers are really great quality too, like really thick and everything. So very excited for these. I might have to go and put them in my reading journal if and when I ever decide to go and pick that back up, because I have really been slacking on my reading journal. All right, then let us go on to the next package here, which is, I believe, a Pango order. So let's go and check this one out. Yeah, it's Pango because it was shipped in the original box. So this was a Fairy Loot package in Pango order. So it has this postcard in it. One thing that I love about Pango is that a lot of the people on there are huge bookish people, and so they will wrap the heck out of the books that they go and ship to ensure that they arrive safely and everything. It's a lot better than a lot of other companies, Barnes & Noble, that don't really care about how their books are shipped, and sometimes you end up with dings. So I did go and open this just so I could take a little peek in how the books were doing, but as you can tell, I left most of it wrapped up. So if you can't tell by this first book, I had to go and get the Fairy Loot editions for Chestnut Springs. I have been slowly working my way through reading the books in the series. I am a new fan of Elsie Silver just because I love how much these books give me nostalgia of growing up in a small town and growing up around horses. So as you can tell, I had to go and get the copies, and oh my god, they're beautiful. Then they have the house in the back and everything, the truck. Oh my gosh. I am so excited. I'm so excited for this. So this one has Summer and Rhett on it. I've read this one and I read the second book so far. And hopefully I can squeeze in the third book maybe in September if it doesn't go too quickly, but we shall see. Then I have Heartless. Oh my gosh. And there's these. And oh my gosh, they're so pretty. I'm gonna have to figure out where to put them on my bookshelves because I have my romance bookshelf, but believe it or not, that one is actually filling up. Nuggy, Nuggy Nugs. Hi, hi, hi. Yes, thank you. Oh my god. So I got these ones, and then I'll open the other ones. Then I have Powerless. I got this image here. And then that is beautiful. Oh my goodness. I haven't read this one yet. Nuggy has to check everything out now. Gotta watch out. I have scissors. Scissors are sharp. Yeah. We don't want to hurt you. Nuggy's like, I want to be a part of this book haul now. And then I have Reckless. So beautiful. Then we got the house in here. Oh my goodness, these are beautiful. And then I have Hopeless. And here's the image here. And then here. Ooh, this one seems very autumnal, just with like the colors in the background. But here all of them are. I am so excited to read these. I probably won't read the special editions, but I needed them on my shelves. I've been loving the book so far, and yeah, I needed to go and snag these ones up. Then I have an order from LitJoy. So with LitJoy, a lot of the time when you go and put an order out, it's usually a hot minute before you get any of your packages. So as you can see, that's what also helped with a lot of this stuff piling up in my office, and how it made it easy to kind of hold on to them because huge boxes and it took a hot minute to get here. So I got these books. The Cruel Prince, The Wicked King, The Queen of Nothing, How the King of Elfham Learned to Hate Stories by Holly Black. I ended up going and getting these books in this beautiful box. And just to kind of give you an idea of what the books look like, they have these gorgeous gold foils and then end pages. Ooh, and there's also images throughout the book, but yeah, there's those. And we also have like little annotations from the author and some of their thoughts when they were writing the book. I love how beautiful this is. Another book that would be gorgeous on a table at the wedding, but not one that I trust to not have any harm done to it. Then we have The Wicked King, and it kind of has like these mermaid kind of tails on it. And then they're also signed by the author, but here's that. Normally I wouldn't read special editions, but I really would want to read like all the author's notes while they were writing it. There's also images throughout the book as well, which is beautiful. Then we have The Queen of Nothing. And these books are so beautiful. And then I love this one. Gorgeous. I read some books by Holly Black years ago, and then I just haven't read any of their books in a hot minute, and I've been wanting to read this series, and so why not get beautiful editions? I had points. I'm a member of LitJoy, so I do get a lot of points racked up and everything, so I was able to go and use them to purchase these books. And then this one doesn't really have any special end pages. It just kind of has this design, which is really beautiful too. And then there's drawings on the inside of this. So yeah, very curious and very excited to read these books as well. And that is the last book that basically had like special editions or anything like that. So now we'll go to the non-special edition books and do Bookoutlet. I have not honestly purchased any books from Bookoutlet in a long time, so some of these books I might have forgotten that I purchased, so it will be a surprise for the both of us. So I think with this box, it includes a lot of like horror books and everything, which is kind of another reason why I decided now was the time for me to go and do my unboxing for these books, because I really wanted to get a lot more of my horror books out because I've been in the mood to go and do horror book reading. So the first one we have here is The Lies of Alma Blackwell by Amanda Glaze. This one has been on my radar for a hot minute, and I just love how eerie the front of the cover looks. I just think it's so beautiful. So this one says, a sweepingly romantic gothic mystery about a girl poised to inherit a famously haunted California mansion, why'd I say it that way? Mansion, and a stranger who arrives with a dark warning. For over a century, the Blackwells have protected the town of Hollow Cliff from vengeful spirits. 17-year-old Neve is ready to take over for her ailing grandmother as the town's witch protector, unlike her mother, who left when Neve was a child and never looked back. I feel like I haven't heard anyone talking about this book at all, so this is one that I'm very excited to read, and like I said, it is pretty much fall season in my mind whether or not the weather cooperates with me, so this will be a book that is on my list to read, even though it wasn't listed in my fall TBR. So if you can't tell by this video, I'm probably going to rack up even more books for my fall TBR. Then I have Count My Lies by Sophie Stava. I have heard a lot of really great things about this book, and I have been very curious to go and check it out. So this says, I'm here to help. I'm your friend. You can trust me. Sloane Caraway is a liar. Harmless lies mostly to make her self-proclaimed sad little life a little bit more interesting. So when Sloane sees a young girl in tears at a park one afternoon, she can't help herself. She tells the girl's very attractive dad she's a nurse and helps him pull a bee stinger from the child's foot. Ooh. Okay, this sounds really interesting, and I'm very excited to go and check it out. I'm not a fan though of the way the cover feels though, so I'll definitely be taking this dust jacket off when I read the book. Sometimes I'm a little bit hit or miss depending on how much it bothers me, but I feel like the texture of this one is one I'm not a fan of. So then I have Out of the Dawn by PC Cast. This is the second book. The first book is Into the Mist, and I believe this is a more apocalyptic story by PC Cast, and I did go and read some of their books when I was growing up, such as House of Night. I also read the different goddess books where the characters switch bodies with a popular goddess, or not a popular goddess, but a well-known goddess. So I have been really interested in going and checking these out. I really love apocalyptic books, so we'll see what I think. And I will not be reading anything on this one because I don't want to do spoilers. Next are a few books that I got for my fiance, and I'm glad my fiance isn't home right now because I can go and hide these books for their birthday and they won't see them at all, hopefully. So if Charles, you're watching this video, just skip this portion, please, so you don't get spoilers. So the first one I got here is the Whitestone Chronicles Ripley, and if you've watched Vox Machina, Ripley is one of the very well-known villains in the first campaign, and I've been really curious about this one and had my eye on it through Bookoutlet, so when I saw that it was available, I was like, okay, you're going in my cart, and I'm gonna go and purchase you now before it's out of stock. But yeah, this kind of goes into Ripley's story a little bit and some pieces with her. So here's kind of the art style on the inside, but like I said, I'm really excited and can't wait to go and give this to Charles because Charles has read every single one of the Critical Role books that I've purchased for them, so I know that's going to be the same case for this one, and very curious to hear their thoughts on it. Then another one I got is the Mighty Nine Origins Ford Stone. So I'm currently in campaign 2 right now, and I had to restart it previously, so I think I'm on episode 13 now. But if you're a critter, you know that in, I believe, November, Mighty Nine is going to be a TV show on Prime. So I'm very, very excited to go and check it out, and also really need to catch up on Campaign 2. But I got this one. I know Charles doesn't have this, so super excited to also give this to them as well. His birthday is going to be, his birthday is October 15th, so excited. Oh, and just so we can kind of take a look at the art style, this is kind of how it looks like in here. And then I made a little bit of a goof, and I got the Tales of Exandria, the Bright Queen, which is a book that Charles already has, and I think I previously purchased it for them. So I might have to just keep this one for my own collection and not give to Charles, because they already have a copy of it. But I'm also not reading any of these books because they are known to kind of have spoilers from the campaign. So if you aren't caught up like me, it's best not to read anything about these books in the descriptions. Then the next book is Listen to Your Sister by Nina Veal. This one was on my video for anticipated releases, I believe, for 2026. 25-year-old Kayla Williams is struggling since becoming guardian to her brother Jamie. Kayla is overwhelmed and tired of being the one who makes sacrifices to keep the family together. Jamie, full of good-natured 16-year-old recklessness, is usually off fighting for what matters to him, or getting into mischief, often at the same time. Dre, their brother, promised he would help raise Jamie, but now that the ink is dry on the paperwork, in classic middle child fashion, he's off doing his own thing. And through it all, the nightmare never stops haunting Kayla, reoccurring images of her brothers dying that she is powerless to stop. I am so curious to read this and very excited. As far as I know, not too many people have read this, so I'm excited to check it out. Then we have Give Me Butterflies by Jillian Meadows, and it says 20% off Canada cover price, which is really interesting. I really fell in love with the cover of this book, and as I've kind of been getting more into romance books, I've been kind of wanting to delve into them a little bit more, and I fell in love with the cover of this one and knew I had to pick it up. So it says, Millie has never taken the expected path. Her childhood love for bugs and science led her to entomology and a role as a curator, inspiring museum visitors every day. It's her dream to run her own department, so when a rare director position opens, she is determined nothing will distract her from her goal, especially not Finn, her grumpy coworker with his permanent scowl, electric blue eyes, and an endless supply of astronomy ties. Not that she spent time noticing any of those things, so I wonder if this is Grumpy meets Sunshine or anything, but I'm very excited. I think the cover is beautiful, so I will definitely be reading this soon. I did not realize I got 2 books by the same author. So I have A Mother Would Know by Amber Garza. It says, a mother questions everything she knows about her son when a local woman is found dead. Valerie has been forgetting things. Her daughter worries about her being on her own in her big Victorian house, one rumored to be haunted after a tragedy decades earlier, and truth be told, she is a little lonely. With few options, she asked her adult son to move home, but it's not quite the reunion she hoped for. Hudson is taciturn, moody, and frequently gone. As you can tell, I've been in the mood for horror, so when I read the premise of this one, I was interested to go and check it out, and it doesn't seem like too thick of a book either, so this should be a fairly quick read as well. Then another book that I got by Amber Garza is In a Quiet Town. I honestly did not realize I picked up 2 books by this author, so hopefully I do like their writing style. In this chilling new novel, a woman discovers that her estranged daughter is missing, but no one believes her until she meets a man claiming to be her daughter's fiancé. Tatum hasn't seen her daughter, Adrian, in years, not since Tatum's husband, the pastor in their small California town, all but disowned her. When she finally gathers the courage to secretly reconnect with Adrian, Tatum's thrilled she's even willing to talk to her. But then, Adrian disappears. This sounds really good too. I feel like I might just need to have like a thriller night where I try to see how many thrillers I can read in one night or something like that. I think that would be really fun. All right, 28%, and I still have quite a few books to go, so we'll see how we can do. Next one is Our Wicked Histories by Amy Goldsmith. This is another book that's been on my radar for quite some time. So this says there's something in the lake at Wren Hall. At least that's what the locals say. Not that Meg cares much about the rumors. When she's asked to spend Halloween weekend at the Ireland retreat of the wealthy Wren twins, she recognizes the invitation for exactly what it is, her last, and only chance to save her spot at Grey Scots, the exclusive British art school she attended on scholarship until last summer. Clever, beautiful, and talented, the twins are the pride of Grey Scots, and kind-hearted Lottie Wren was once Meg's closest mate, but not anymore. I've been really curious about this one, and I will admit the cover drew me in, so I'm excited to see what all happens in this book, and just want to know more about the backstory with the cover of this book. Next, I have some Darcy Coates books. So first one here is The Haunting of Gilseppi House, and it says, some spirits linger. Elle is thrilled to spend a month minding the beautiful house. Over an hour's drive from the nearest town, the aging mansion is ideal for someone seeking solitude. But as she explores her new home, Elle makes a startling discovery. There's a graveyard nestled deep in the woods containing a generation of the house's residents, all who died the same year. Then things start to go very wrong very quickly. If you're not new to the channel, then you'll know that I'm a huge Darcy Coates fan. I just absolutely love her books, and I've been working on her backlist and just catching up on a lot of the books that she's written, which, trust me, there's a lot of them. So I was very excited to go and snag this one. Another book by Darcy Coates is The Haunting of Blackwood House. So another creepy mansion story. It says, how long could you survive? As the daughter of spiritualists, Mara's childhood was filled with seances and scam mediums. Now she's ready to start over with her fiancé, Neil, far away from the superstitions she's learned to loathe. But her past isn't willing to let her go so easily, and neither is Blackwood House. Oh, I'm so excited. I just finished one of Darcy Coates' recent releases, and so I'm definitely in a little bit of a Darcy Coates mood and just reading more of her books right now. Then I have a book by Victoria Aveyard, which is Realm Breaker, Save the World or End It. I have really been wanting to read Victoria Aveyard, and I do have Red Queen on my bookshelves. I don't think this one is a part of that series. I think this is a separate one. So it says, Esquire, the survivor of a failed quest, an immortal, timeless, and unfathomable. Can't say that word. An assassin skilled and heartless, an old sorceress holding secrets behind her teeth, and a pirate's daughter, the ward's last hope. The heroes are gone, but the fight to save the world has only just begun. I'm so excited to go and check this out. I've definitely been in a certain mood given the political climate right now, so this will definitely be a book I hope to read this year. Then last book from Bookoutlet is, oh shoot, I done goofed. So a while back at Second and Charles, I picked up The Dead by Charlie Higson, and I realized that it wasn't the first book in the series, or it was a prequel or something like that. So I wanted to go and pick up the first book. However, I mistook things and I got the fifth book. So I won't be reading these books just yet, but I believe this is like a zombie apocalypse series, so something that is definitely right up my alley because of apocalypses and also my love of zombies. But this is book 5, so I won't be reading the back of this book for you either, but I'll just have to see if maybe I can get my hands on an edition through the library and read it that way so that I can finally start reading the series before I get all the other books in the series except the first one. But those were all the books in our book outlet pile, so now let's go on to publisher mail. Alright, so first one we have here is The Sign for Home by Blair Fell. This one says, when a young deafblind man learns the girl he thought was lost forever might still be out there, he embarks on a life-changing journey to find her and his freedom. Arlo Dilly is young, handsome, and eager to meet the right girl. He also happens to be deaf-blind, a Jehovah's Witness, and under the strict guardianship of his controlling uncle, an unscrupulous tactile ASL interpreter. His chances for finding someone to love seem slim to none. And yet it happened. Once before, many years ago, at a boarding school for the deaf, Arlo met the love of his life, a mysterious girl with onyx eyes and beautifully expressive hands that told him the most amazing stories. But tragedy struck, and their love was lost forever. I was really excited to go and pick this pick up this book. This was one that I got through Atria just because I really am trying to find books with more disability representation in them. So when I found out the main character was deafblind, I definitely wanted to go and request an edition of this book and was so thankful that I got sent one. Then the next book I also got from Atria was Follow My Voice by Ariana Godoy. This one comes out September 23rd. And it says, Clara Rodriguez has barely left her house in 8 agonizing months. Imprisoned by agoraphobia and anxiety, her world has shrunk to the walls of her bedroom, where night after night one voice pierces through her isolation. Kong, the soothing, thoughtful host of her favorite late-night college radio program. Then an unexpected text message changes everything. The voice that has been her invisible companion suddenly has a life beyond the airwaves, and their connection deepens. It becomes the fragile thread Clara clings to while fighting to reclaim pieces of herself. This was one that I hadn't really heard too many people going and talking about. It's also a major motion picture, which I don't think I've heard anything about, but I am excited to check this one out, especially since there's representation of agoraphobia and anxiety in this book. With a lot of these books, I received them from free via publisher programs, and I do have a video up here that I will link where I go and talk about how I was able to go and get free books and my experience with that. The next one is The Midnight Knock by John Fram. This was one that I got from Atria, and this comes out October 21st. In the frigid West Texas desert, weary travelers converge at a lonely roadside motel nestled at the foot of a massive mountain. Ethan and Hunter have left behind a corpse, a fire, and a horrific act of violence. Kyla and Fernanda are fleeing for the border. Stanley and his granddaughter are returning from Mexico with a mysterious man in hot pursuit. All of them are on the run from something. All of them are hiding something. And somehow they're all connected to the motel's other guest, an enigmatic woman named Sarah Powers. This is one that I am just really excited to check out. It seems very creepy and eerie and definitely is giving a lot of those creepy vibes that I really love for Halloween. So I 100% will be reading this next month. Then the next book I got was Pantomime by L.R. Lamb from Daw Books. And this says, in a land of lost wonders, the past is stirring once more. Micah runs away from a debutante's life at home and joins the circus, harboring 2 secrets. 1, he was born between male and female, and 2, he may have powers last seen in mysterious beings from an almost forgotten age. Micah discovers the joy of flight as an aerialist, courting his trapeze partner, Anna, and confiding in the mysterious white clown, Drystan. He finally feels free, but the circus has a dark side and Micah's past isn't done with him. I am so curious about this book, and I do really love that it kind of has trans representation in it, which is something that I would like to go and read more of. So I'm very curious about this one, and I also did get one that has these purple sprayed edges. Another book that I received from Daw Books was Sargassa by Sophie Burnham. And this says, this is the Roman Empire like you've never imagined it before, and an unlikely group of rebels is about to burn it down. The role of imperial historian is Sela Cleos's birthright, but she was supposed to have more time to learn the role from her father, the previous historian. In the wake of her father's sudden and shocking assassination, Sela finds herself custodian of more than just the Imperial's archives, when an old flame returns intending to steal the Evora Stone, a seemingly harmless artifact containing secrets that could destroy the Empire. I'm definitely curious about this one, and I don't think I've seen too many people talk about it either. I feel like a lot of the books that I get from Daw are kind of the lesser known books, so I'm very excited to kind of expand the different types of books that I read because of the ones I receive from them. Then I got a book from Saga Press, which is Night by Ellen Dotlow. And then on the other side, Day. So this is one of those books that I have never actually received before or even read before, where it kind of has 2 different editions depending on the way you flip it. So like I said, this is from Saga. So it says A Saga Double, an anthology edited by the genre's most awarded editor of short horror fiction, Ellen Dotlow, with a simple yet insidious premise of one side featuring stories about what haunts the night, while the other side showcases the terrors that can exist in the light of day. So there's a bunch of different like short stories and everything in it. So I feel like for this one, I have to read it based off of the portion that I'm on. So this part will have to be read during night. and then this part will have to be during day. So maybe I can do like a 24-hour readathon, something like that, because I don't think I could read for 24 hours straight. I'm a bit of a granny and I go to bed pretty early at night, but maybe I'll do something with this book. Let me know in the comments below if you're interested in that. This is another through Atria. This is Wildwood by Amy Peace. It says, Deputy Sheriff Eli North has spent the last year getting his life back together. He hasn't touched a drop of alcohol, he's working through his PTSD from his military deployment, and he's repairing his most important relationships. When an undercover informant disappears and all signs point to murder, Eli must expose the dark underbelly of his idyllic Wisconsin small town while safeguarding his newfound stability. I'm definitely curious about this one, and this one actually comes out on my birthday in 2026. I turned 30 on January 6th of 2026, so very excited for that, and I think I'm gonna have to go and read this book before my birthday. Just is, you know, something that has to happen. And I'd feel pretty special because I don't own any books released on my birthday, at least to my knowledge, so very exciting. Then another book from Atria is King's Ransom by Janet Ivanich, and this comes out November 11th of this year. Gabriella Rose, recovery agent extraordinaire, can find just about anything. Too bad she can't seem to lose her gorgeous but infuriating ex-husband, Rayford Jones. And now he needs her help. His cousin Harley is in big trouble, and the always resourceful, usually armed, and sometimes dangerous Gabriella is the only person who can save him. This kind of seems a bit of like Tomb Raider meets Indiana Jones, so I'm excited to read this because I don't tend to read books that are like this, so I'm interested to see what my thoughts will be when I do read it. Then another book from Atria is the Book of Lost Hours by Haley Galfuso. Who would you rewrite history for? Enter the time space, a soaring library filled with books containing the memories of those who have passed and accessed only by specially made watches, one handed down from father to son, but now mostly in government hands. This is where 11-year-old Lisavette Levy finds herself trapped in 1938, waiting for her watchmaker father to return. When he doesn't, she grows up among the book's inspectors, able to see the world only by sifting through the memories of those who came before her. This definitely sounds really interesting, and I'm really intrigued to go and check it out. The cover is kind of giving me Invisible Life of Addie LaRue for some reason. All right, I have 6% left, and I have 2 more packages from book mail that I haven't opened yet, so let's do this really quick. So, Bells Never Tell, Bells Never Tell. This is a book that I got from Atria called The Bells by Lacey N. Dunham. And I vaguely remember a little bit of this. In this sisterhood of secrets, bells never tell. In 1951 at Bellerton, a secluded all-women's college, and Dina Williams is doing her best to blend in with her wealthy and perfectly groomed peers. Notorious for its strict rules as much as its prestige, Bellerton could give Dina the affluent life she's only dreamed of. I don't know why, but this is kind of giving me bunny vibes. Maybe also just because of the cover and having a pink image on it, but definitely interested to check this one out. All right, then the last package. I have How to Break My Heart by Kat T. Mason. The man who broke Eva's heart is back in Cinnamon Springs, and the small town has never felt smaller. Eva Woods is perfectly content with her quiet life in the picturesque town of Cinnamon Springs, where she owns a cafe infamous for its mouth-watering donuts. There's even a cute new doctor in town who has caught the eyes of everyone, Eva included. But when her best friend Maddie asks Eva to join forces with her brother for the sake of her upcoming wedding, Eva's quaint life is upended. Colden Richard Aston is the man who broke Eva's heart back in high school. He's also one of the country's hottest billionaires. Okay, so this is a billionaire romance, but potentially in a small town. Oh yeah, it says small town at the top. Definitely interested in this one. I don't usually read billionaire romances, but small town, sign me up. All right, let me go and count how many books we have before the battery runs out. 45 books in this book haul. Holy heck. I definitely need to take some time to not only scan these books, but also figure out where I'm going to put them on my bookshelf. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this haul. If there's any books that you read from this haul, definitely let me know down in the comments below. Or if there's a new book you learned about that you'd love to read, let me know as well. Nugget is also apparently very curious, or also needs to go out. But thank you so much for taking the time to go and watch this very chunky video. There were so many great books mentioned in this video, and I can't wait to put them together on my TBR so we can figure out when we're going to read them. But as always, I want to remind you all that you are worthy and capable of amazing things. Bye, friends. Nuggy! 4% on the battery, Nugs. Why are you like this? You know, I love you too. You gotta be careful. I have scissors. They're sharp, Nugs. They are sharp. Yes, sharp.